there is a wounded inner child, a wounded little child who went through these traumatic experiences and is now living somewhere in our subconscious. Sometimes our mind will compartmentalize those things and we will forget about those things consciously. But in situations that are less than favorable or situations that simply put us out of our comfort zone, that child tends to resurface every now and again. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shireen Saluja, and on this channel we talk about radical self-love, which I believe is the ultimate act of self-discipline. And today I wanted to share with you a very simple yet effective exercise when it comes to starting the process of healing your wounded inner child. Now, if you are wondering who exactly or what exactly is a wounded inner child, I'm going to try my level best to explain it to you. So when we are young, when we are really little, like from the age of 0, from the point when we are in our mom's womb till 7 is when we form our personality and we pick on all the beliefs and values from our environment. And when we are that young, we are very, very suggestible, we are vulnerable, we are like sponges. So we end up absorbing everything, good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. Whatever is present in our environment through our parents, grandparents, caregivers, we take all of that in. So no matter how evolved and how conscious our parents are or were, it doesn't matter. Our parents at the end of the day were just human beings, and they were doing whatever they could do with the limited information and resources that were available to our parents back then. They did not have YouTube, there was no Audible, there was no Mind Valley, there was no Jay Shetty, there was no Tony Robbins back then. And because human beings are full of imperfections and human beings make mistakes, of course, all our parents will have made some mistakes with all of us. And as children, we only have a very limited understanding of the world. And with that limited understanding, we take everything that is said to us or about us literally or at its face value. And these things then sometimes form limiting beliefs within our subconscious. And those beliefs then start showing up in our adult life as well. As children, we have all gone through some kind of traumatic experiences. And this could either be perceived or it could be real. And I'm going to try and explain it with the help of an example. So let's say you were 3 and your mom had to leave you behind with your grandparents because she had to go away for a work trip. She left you for a week and that was a traumatic experience for you. You thought your mother just simply abandoned you because you're not good enough for her or something like that. And that is something that you perceived with your limited understanding. Whereas the reality was that probably her career was on the line, her job was on the line. She was struggling to make ends meet and ultimately provide you with a good life. But this limiting belief that you're not good enough sits deep within your subconscious, and it starts to show up in your adult life, in your professional life, in your personal life, in your intimate relationships, so on and so forth, right? On the other extreme hand, let's say you were 3 and your mom really abandoned you. So she left your dad, she left the family, she went off and married another guy. In this case, the trauma is very real. And again, this trauma has led you to believe that you're not good enough and that you're not lovable, and that people who come into your life, people who love you, eventually leave you. And this belief also now shows up in your adult life. It shows up in your relationships. So there is a wounded inner child, a wounded little child who went through these traumatic experiences and is now living somewhere in our subconscious. So it is like a shadow self, something that we have forgotten because of the trauma. That is a coping mechanism of our mind, things that are traumatic. Sometimes our mind will compartmentalize those things and we will forget about those things consciously. But in situations that are less than favorable or situations that simply put us out of our comfort zone, that child tends to resurface every now and again. Okay, and that is how we know that that wounded little child exists. So let's say you are in a relationship and your partner says something to you which was pretty standard. It could be something about money, finances, expenses. It could be about you taking too much time to get dressed. It's something which is a normal conversation for a normal couple. But something gets triggered within you, and your response, sorry, your reaction to what your partner just said is like an explosion of emotions, okay? And you just have this hyper emotional reaction. When your partner says something to you and it triggers you in a way that is crazy explosive, and you end up having a reaction that is hyper emotional, that is a very big clue. That is your wounded inner child coming to the surface, because something that your partner said has triggered you and taken you back to that time. So maybe in your family money was never discussed, or it was a big red flag topic, or the topic of money always caused your parents to come and fight. So maybe that's why it's made you really uncomfortable, right? Or as a child, you were told to hurry up and not take too much time to get dressed, and that has triggered you. And so you've had this crazy hyper emotional reaction. When thinking about this reaction in retrospect, even you can't seem to figure out why. Why is it that you had this crazy reaction? That is a very big clue. If you think about it, for a 30-something-year-old adult, that behavior is not normal at all. But for a 3-year-old wounded child, that behavior is pretty normal, isn't it? It's just like throwing a tantrum. You have no idea where that was coming from. It was coming from your unhealed childhood. So the point that I'm trying to drive home today is that the sooner you start the process of healing this wounded inner child, the sooner you'll be able to balance your emotions, balance your relationships, and start living a very fulfilling, harmonious life. So the exercise that I'm going to share with you today is so simple, yet it is highly effective. It will not take much of your precious time, only 2 minutes every day. To do this healing exercise, all you need is your favorite baby picture. So go ahead and grab your family album and scan that album for your all-time favorite baby picture. And if you, for some reason, can't decide on one picture, then I'm pretty sure one of your pictures will evoke an emotional response from you. It might be happiness, sadness, grief, all kind of combined together. So if there is a particular picture that has evoked that emotional response from within you, then that should be the picture of choice. So take that picture and bring it into your room and keep it on your bedside table. Now, you could actually just keep it within a diary or a journal that you use every single day. Or you can take this a step further. You can frame this picture and put it on your bedside table. So once you have this picture with you, all you have to do is every single day take out a minute or so. It doesn't matter what time of the day you do this. It could be morning, noon, evening, or night. It doesn't matter. You just have to take this picture in your hands and look at this picture and say to this picture all the things you wanted to hear as a child, but you never heard them from your parents, grandparents, from your caregivers, your relatives, whoever it might be. We all wanted to hear stuff like, "You are enough. I love you just the way you are. You're a great kid. I'm proud of you. I'm proud to be your parent. I'm proud to be your mother. I'm proud to be your father." You can then add on things like you can be, do, and have anything that you want. And you can say stuff like, "Never ever compromise. Follow your dreams. Don't settle. I will always have your back." You can then take this a step further and say things like, "You are safe with me. I will always protect you. I will always take care of you. You have nothing to worry about. We are safe. We are good." Okay? So this is almost as if you are revisiting that wounded child, and you're revisiting that time and that space, and you are almost installing that child into your current space, assuring that child that everything is taken care of. And like I mentioned before, our brain, our mind, to cope with the trauma has suppressed this part of us, and it becomes a shadow self. We have a lot of shadow selves, and a wounded inner child is one such shadow self. Okay, it's just easy to disown that part of yourself that feels hurt, upset, insecure, jealous, angry, frustrated, because all these emotions are classified as wrong or negative or bad. So we think that that part of us is bad, and we disown and completely shut that part off. But that part shows up every now and again. Every time we are put out of our comfort zone, that shadow self shows up. All that shadow self wants from you is to be heard, acknowledged, accepted, just the way it is. So this is almost as if you are doing that. You are accepting your wounded inner child. You're embracing your wounded inner child. You are unconditionally loving your wounded inner child. And that, my friend, is the start of a beautiful healing process. With that said, I am going to wrap this video up, and I hope you found today's video useful. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.